This is actually bonkers. Highguard still hasn't advertised the game, and it launches in 6 days. But there's been some massive bombshells. There's actually a playtest taking place, and also they didn't actually pay for the Game Awards final slot. It was given to them by Geoff Keighley because he loved the game so much. So what the hell is going on here? Okay, this is actually funny as shit. So this is the Game Awards, their official Twitter. And they've tweeted and said, just 1 week until the release of Play Highguard. I don't know whether they're taking the piss here or what. I don't know. But like, this was yesterday. You know, I'm recording this video the 20th. It's the 19th. There are 6 days to go until this game launches. And this has been like the only official sort of comment we've had. Of course, the Game Awards are not developing the game, but they were promoting the game at their Game Awards show. So let's just... I think we really need to talk about what the hell Geoff Keighley has done to them, and is this a pro or a con? Because this is actually bonkers. Actually, before we do that, look at this. This is really funny. So this was the tweet on the 12th of December last year where they dropped the trailer and they're like, oh, yo, check out this new PvP raid shooter, of which we're going to give you no further information on. It's just going to launch and you're going to be like, what? And then Zed responds. Now, Zed, I'm sure you know who Zed is. He's a DJ, but also... He was heavily into Overwatch back in the day, and then I think he played a lot of Valorant as well. He probably still does play a lot of both of those games. He replies like, oh yeah, happy emoji, love, great, looks awesome. And then Highguard says, can't wait to show you more. All right, then, on to the spy. So this is where I first picked this up. So it's Paul Tassi that has originally reported this, but there were, I think, from Imran Khan, there was discussion that actually it was free, the final slot that Highguard was given. Now, why it was given it for free, we need to talk about that. But this is how I sort of came across all of this. So Tom Henderson from Insider Gaming, he says, this is why shows need to have ad disclaimers, just like any other forms of media, if they are paid placements. Surprised that the FTC haven't enforced it yet. So this is actually quite a good comment. And he's, quote, retweeting this, where Paul Tassi just says, I've learned that Highguard did not actually pay for the Game Awards finale spot. It was just the show putting it there. I mean, like, insane. So this begs the question, right? Why would they be given this slot? Now, I think a few things could have gone on here. I'm going to sort of hedge my bets here and say I think whatever game was meant to occupy that final slot may be pulled out. Maybe there was a game that didn't even show up at the Game Awards that was going to fill that slot, and they just needed to find something to put it into that slot. Because I'm going to go out there on a limb and say, you know what, like the latest hero shooter that looks kind of generic fantasy sci-fi probably isn't the best thing to have as the grand finale of your show, especially considering the games that were actually shown at the Game Awards. I mean, Knights of the Old Republic 3 probably would have been like a way better option. People would have lost their mind. I think, again, one of the issues is when you look at Highguard and the way it was introduced with the splash screens of like from the developers of Titanfall, from the developers of Apex Legends, you're thinking, oh my God, this is going to be a spiritual successor to Titanfall. It's going to be Titanfall 3, but obviously not called that because of IP reasons, but it's going to be similar. And then, oh, it's just what looks like a generic fantasy battle royale game with raid-based mechanics in and heroes and abilities. It's like, this isn't the play. Now, to give Geoff the benefit of the doubt, possibly whatever the hell he played is actually amazing and earth-shattering, and he's like, oh my God, this is the best. But if it was, surely they would be talking to us more about this now. You see, there's a lot of problems with the way this game has been marketed. They've come out of the gates with a trailer at the end of the Game Awards show. However that has happened, I mean, let's be real here. It's not like the Game Awards have just gone with putting your trailer at the end, you've got no choice. They probably would have asked the development team and said, do you want this at the end of the show? And they've gone, yeah, because they obviously believe in their product. And it's gone at the end of the show. So it's got this big bang. Now, the reaction is not great. I mean, let's just look at the trailer reaction, like right now. Yeah, so the trailer, we've all seen this trailer to death. And in some ways, it's kind of funny, right? Because this trailer is getting used in a lot of content. Everyone's talking about the trailer, how generic it is. Just like... yeah, it's almost like if you come from that school of any press is good press, then maybe, yeah. Anyway, what I want to show you here on this screen, we don't want to watch this trailer again. It's this here. Look at the dislike ratio. Now, again, this is an add-on, so it's not 100% accurate. But if a trailer has got, I think it's got 115,000 views, and it's got 1,500 likes and a supposed 14,000 dislikes, this isn't particularly great. Also, I've got no idea. Like what I'm trying to say, guys, I've got no idea what any of this is. It's not shock value. I'm not like, oh my God, this is insane. I can't wait to play it. It's like you've showed me the game and then you've explained nothing about it. You've shown me like a really cheap May wall that's basically broken with one bullet. Like what? And you've absolutely like blasted me with the most generic sci-fi fantasy stuff I've ever seen. All right, let's take a look at what Paul Tassi has said over on Forbes. So he says, Highguard did not pay for its infamous Game Awards final slot or finale slot. There's been a lot of speculation that Highguard, the upcoming hero game from Apex Legends Titanfall veterans, must have paid big bucks for its final slot at the Game Awards. That made the highest profile debut in the biggest game showcase of the year, and it backfired. The game's reveal was poorly received, and it also ended the Game Awards on a strange note, as that spot is usually reserved for much anticipated game or a big surprise. And again, I've got to say with this, like, you cannot come out of the gates. You just can't do this. You can't say, this game is from the makers of Apex Legends, Titanfall. What is this? There's a guy jumping, like the most generic looking guy ever, jumping in the most generic looking sort of, fantasy landscape, and he's on a horse and then he's running. It's like, what is this, guys? Like this, that does not look like what you are known for. You cannot say, we have made these games, check this out. Now, I know what they're doing. It's like, hey, we've made great games, so our new game is going to be great. Maybe it is, but their first impression has been so diabolically bad. They really need to follow it up with more information. They need to say, explain how the game plays. This has actually been one of the things that I've been sort of ranting about on this recently. I don't know what a raid shooter is. Like, I ain't got a clue. Like, as far as I understand, it's just a base. You've got a base, they've got a base. There's some sort of objective in the middle of the map, which appears to be this sword. You fight over that, you get the sword. The sword brings the shields down in the base, and then this massive, like, trebuchet catapult thing spawns, and it goes towards the enemy base, and it just starts like laying siege to it, and then you attack them in their base, and I guess there's like various different buildings and stuff you can attack in the base. That's all. That's like, I'm making that up because that's what I've seen in a trailer. I've got no idea, and this isn't great marketing either. This isn't like, whoa, wow, it's so like, who knows what's going on? Like, I can't wait to know more. It's not, it isn't. People are looking at this game because they're like, they just want to see a disaster now, which isn't great, and that is because of the marketing direction they have taken. It's not because of people looking for negativity online. People are just reacting to what they're seeing, and what they're seeing just is generic and not enough information. It is bonkers. Anyway, back to the article. Now, two separate sources have told me that Highguard did not have to pay for that hugely coveted spot. Reportedly, showrunner Geoff Keighley just really liked the game and offered it to them. There is speculation that another game may have dropped out of the spot, opening it up, but I can't confirm that. The revelation that Highguard didn't need to pay for its spot was previously reported by Imran Khan, which I can now corroborate. So, I've seen a lot of criticism of Geoff Keighley in the wake of this news, which I don't think is warranted. There's talk of him sending the game out to die and screwing it over somehow, while clearly this was not ultimately a good decision by either party. If anything, it's just Keighley attempting to help a game he liked. Hardly malicious. Okay, I'm not too sure. Like, I ain't too sure I sort of go along with that. Probably what happened is, the way the Game Awards makes money is it sells slots for trailers, and I think it's like $450,000 for a minute or maybe 2 minutes of trailer. But if you're going into, I think that might be per minute. So if you've got like a 3-minute trailer, you're looking at like $1 million basically for your trailer. That's what they're looking at. What he would have done for each slot is going to be priced differently. Yeah, if you're coming out quick and fast at the start of the show, yeah. But as the show goes on and it gets more, I guess, prime time, more viewers come in. Everyone's waiting to see the grand finale. That last slot is probably going to be like triple the actual cost. I'm sure they would have gone, EA, do you want this for your new Star Wars game, right? Or whoever else? Do you want, or even like, why hasn't the new Larian game? Why wasn't that Divinity in the final slot? They probably offered them, hey, do you want it at the final slot? It's going to cost you this. But they're thinking, we don't really need to be in the final slot. We can be wherever we like. So maybe then that just forced Geoff to go, we need something to go in the final slot. Let's just ask anyone who has like a remotely AAA looking game that haven't asked, and maybe that turned out to be Highguard. Or it could have been that somebody paid big mega bucks for the final slot and then weren't able to actually make the slot. So maybe the Game Awards kept the money for the slot and had a free slot and just gave it away to their friends. This is how business is done. I mean, I don't know for sure, but honestly, it's a very odd decision, because if you had like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 people, and you each showed them the run of the Game Awards, they would question what the hell is going on in the final slot. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So back over to Tom Henderson on Twitter, and he says, you can really tell who got invited to the Highguard event and who didn't with all the takes about its marketing. Now, this is another thing we really need to talk about, yeah? Because remember the way Apex launched? It shadow dropped, but it did have influencer, content creator, streamer marketing as well. Now, Now, the way they did this is they flew a load of people over and they were all playing the game. They were getting used to the game. They were giving them feedback. They were taking part in test sessions. And then when the game dropped, they knew the game was going to drop. I think even some were on location over in LA, I think. I can remember certain streamers being involved in it. And there was a massive showcase. Like, it was a blitz. Everyone's playing it on Twitch. Now, another game did this successfully, and that was Valorant. And I was part of the Valorant initial marketing, where they just systematically went after anyone who was playing any of their competitor games and said, look, you can have access to the game and stream it right away. Everyone's going to want to know what this is because it's Valorant. You know, it's the new game from Riot. They had like loads of cool Discord set up. They had like loads of feedback. We had early test phases, developers explaining things to us in Discord calls. It was really like, it was awesome, right? I remember Anna Dalton, she's the head of the game. She was playing with me, you know, all of this stuff. It was super cool, right? It was really well done. And it was incredible marketing, really. And that, to me, that was a sort of a leg up from what Apex Legends did. So this, what they're doing now with Highguard, they're just not going to create the same splash because they've threw the game out of the door already. They've gone, here is the game. We've showed you the game. We cannot now shadow drop the game or just launch the game without any information and expect people to be like, oh my God, this is the shit. It's awesome. I can't believe it. There needs to be some sort of build up. Now, what I think will happen, because this happens a lot with a lot of games, and I do want to show you some comparisons here with other like data points we can sort of read into. They're not 100% set in stone, but we can take some sort of conclusions from them. But it is, you pay streamers tons of money to stream the game and you don't really get any impact. The streamers love it because obviously they're getting paid and they're doing marketing for your game effectively, but you're not getting any impact beyond that because you failed to build any kind of foundation to keep people engaged in the game. And I feel like Highguard is really falling into that trap. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, this is on SteamDB and it's the Steam Hub followers. So this is how many people are following the game, basically. And you can see on this, on the 12th, we've got 3,000 people following. This is when the game was announced. And then you can see there's basically, did they lose some? No, it's still the same on the 13th. I think this is because it was so late at night, potentially. Anyway, then it starts to grow, right? So over time, we come all the way to today, we've got 9,000. So it's tripled, right? So you think, okay, there is interest here. This is growing. The question is it enough interest? Well, let me show you another game. I think that's kind of similar. So this is Wildgate. Now, by all intents and purposes, this is now a dead game, a finished game. There is nobody playing this game. I think there's 11 people playing the game right now. You know, this game's finished. It's a multiplayer game that nobody's playing. But what I want to show you is this, right? So you've got the sort of announcement of the game, all right? And you can see there are followers, 1,800 followers. And you can see this is building up. Now, this is over, you know, this is April, then we're going into May. Look how many followers are following this, right? We're going to June. We've got a big jump here. This must be as more media is released and it's getting closer and closer. This is probably, I believe I put a video out, maybe I want to say around like April time, June maybe or something, which was one of the advanced previews of the game. So there's like a media blitz here. So a bit more people get interested in the game. And then we get release, right? So on release, we've got 29,000 people interested. We've only got 9,000 people interested in Highguard at the moment, right? So it's not even a third of what this game has got. And then you can see as the game releases, things kind of plateau and, you know, obviously things end up as they are. But another sort of, I mean, again, remember, it's a multiplayer game, but it's not a free-to-play game. So that's another big issue here, right? So Wildgate, you had to pay to play. That's why when I'm looking at things like the follower history, it's free to be a follower, but obviously to play the game, it's not. Now, what we might see if we go to max, you can see when this released, it basically had its peak. So it had 7,000 players, yeah? So I would assume we're going to see a lot more than that on Highguard, simply because I think people want to see what Highguard is, because no one actually knows what it is. And if you Google Highguard, you're just seeing loads of people going, what the hell is going on with this game? And when it comes out as free to play, yeah, I think it'll beat this number. It'll probably have like 40, 50,000, 60,000 players. The question will be, will it be good enough to keep them and will it start growing? Now, I actually think this is really, it's a really odd way of marketing the game, because on the one hand, you've got information is completely lacking. So players don't really know what the game is. But I also want to say this, right? You watching this video and me, we are not the average gamers. We consume a lot more information. You know, we're probably looking at Reddit. We're probably looking at like Blue Sky and Twitter. We're looking at other YouTubers. We're looking at, you know, other social media. We are not just sitting there going, I wonder what game's coming out. Oh, look, there's a free-to-play game here. I'll check it out, which might be the case for most of the players as they come through the door with something like Highguard, because the game's going to launch. It's going to be across all of the platforms. It's like, oh, wow, there's going to be advertising then. There'll be big banner adverts all over the place, YouTube adverts, tons of content creator adverts. And maybe it doesn't matter what's actually going on now. Maybe it's almost like it's all pointless discussion, because if the game is good, surely people will play the game. Now, I do think there are some issues with the visual direction of the game, and I think I'm becoming a bit of a Marathon fanboy, so I don't think you can really take my word here, but I think for Marathon, it's got a very distinctive visual style. It's risky, right? But that's good. Highguard is like the other end of the spectrum. It's like the Concord end of the spectrum. It's very safe. It's very generic, which I think is probably quite offensive to people involved in the art direction of the game. Like the main guy, who seems to be the main guy, who's used on all of the advertising for Highguard, he sort of throws these lightning bolts, and I'm looking like, well, what's he got to do with lightning? And then I realized he's got a lightning bolt on his head. I'm like, okay. He hardly looks like Thor, does he? Or some sort of god of lightning. So it's like, ugh. But I do think this is a very risky strategy from the Highguard team. Now, oh yeah, I'm going to check it out. I think most of you guys are going to check it out as well. A lot of people are going to be waiting to see if this game is actually good. I mean, I hope it is, right? You've got to remember, it does have Pedigree. It's got the Apex Legends devs. It's got the, Titanfall devs as well, which are basically the same devs in a lot of ways. So it's like, could this be a hidden sleeper for the year? I don't know. But everything is looking like this has not been great. And if the game's really good and it's been sabotaged by its marketing, well, then there needs to be some questions asked, I think, with who's in charge of the marketing of the game, because it doesn't feel like it's any kind of groundbreaking strategy they've used here. It just seems like it's very lazy, to be honest. It's like they haven't got a plan. You cannot announce your game and then not follow up with any kind of updates and not follow up, when we're getting this close to the launch. It doesn't really make any sense to me. Anyway, you guys let me know what you think about this in the comments below. You're looking forward to Highguard. I don't think anyone's looking forward to Highguard, but I think people are looking forward to seeing what it is more than what the game is. That doesn't even make sense. Like, here's the thing. You don't even know what the characters are called. Like, we don't know nothing. All we know is the trailer. We've got no further information. So I'm kind of looking forward to getting more information, but it's not in a good way. I don't know. It's odd. Anyway, come on. Wildlight Entertainment. Let's see what you can do with Highguard. Like, I also, I've got to stress as well, I'm not out here, like, wishing on games to fail. I don't want games to fail. I just want, like, I want games to be marketed in a normal way. It just makes no sense to me. Honestly, it's totally bonkers. It feels to me like the devs have gone away, worked on a game that's obviously a passion project, and then they've just totally failed as a company to actually create that moment. And it's so crucial to create that moment, that spark, especially when you've got a new IP, because you need people to get in there and think, wow, what's that? And what's happening now is people are associating Highguard with a terrible initial launch, a garbage trailer, which I don't think the trailer's very good, guys. I'm going to be totally honest. It doesn't tell you anything about the game, really. It's just loads of generic cuts, and it's got some very odd editing as well. There's a hit marker. If you watch it back, the trailer, I won't show you here. You can go and watch it if you want. But the very first hit marker it shows you, it actually moves on the screen as if it's been added in post-editing, which is like, what? If that's happened, then that is not great, is it? Anyway, all right, guys, I'm Instalos. If you enjoyed the video, then let me know what you think about the video in the comments below, and I'll catch you lovely lot in Highguard. See you on the next one. Toodaloo!